The film begins when the zombie virus has infected all humans on Earth. Mickey and Ben, two baseball buddies, are among the few people who survived. They are compelled to saunter across New England's province and woodlands in quest of food, sometimes protecting themselves against hungry zombies. In actuality, the post-apocalyptic world is quite dull, and the guys are left with nothing to do for most of the day. Ben adjusted to the new world quicker than his pal, learning how to use makeshift weapons to fight zombies and get food. On the other hand, Mickey chooses to escape reality by listening to music while wearing headphones since he is hesitant to take up weapons. The men discover an abandoned car while on another sortie. When a zombie lady tries to exit the driver's seat, Ben shoots her in the head without delay. The men are lucky since the vehicle starts immediately, allowing them to continue their forced adventure on wheels. Mickey asks to go to his ex-girlfriend's place and hunt around for supplies. Mickey ruminates in his old lover's chamber while Ben searches the home for zombies. He grabs a fresh disc for his player from her drawer and begins to inhale her scent. Ben, however, selects only items that will be helpful to them along the road, and as a result, 2 battery-operated walkie-talkies are among the items. The boys grab pillows and blankets from the girls' room so they may sleep in the car. Mickey urges Ben to remain in the home for at least a little bit since he is sick of hanging around in run-down buildings and sleeping on the streets. Ben believes that they must continually travel in order to live, and that being in one location is not safe. He recalls his buddy that when things originally began, they spent 3 months locked up in Mickey's home with his whole family. Living in a small place proved to be a terrible plan as the group rapidly ran out of food, and Ben was forced to shoot the family dog to save them from starving to death. Only the 2 buddies were able to escape the bloodbath when the zombies eventually burst inside the home. Mickey has to agree with his pal, so they go on their journey without making a break at all. Mickey discovers walkie-talkies one day and gives them batteries. He and Ben decide to test the radio's range when they unexpectedly hear someone else's signal. The survivors talk about the grocery list for campers while the guys listen in on their talks. Mickey hears voices he hasn't heard in a very long time. He deduces from their conversation that others who are still living their previous lives are somewhere nearby. They always eat something, sleep, and watch movies. They also celebrate birthdays. Mickey makes the decision to step in and make the request to stay with them at the camp. A male voice on the radio angrily replies to him so that he does not jam the airwave and tells him that they have no place in the camp. The voice also asks the other person, named Annie, to stop any contact with the guys. Mickey desperately attempts to talk to the people, but they break off the conversation. Ben takes the situation coolly and makes the suggestion that they forget about this communication, but his buddy is unable to accept the rejection and keeps trying to get in touch with Annie. Ben finds Mickey's behavior ironic. He admits to being too romantic with the stranger, and his futile expectations that she would wind up being the seductive beauty from the movies who will save him from the zombie outbreak. Ben, on the other hand, is more grounded in reality and counsels Mickey to follow him in order to live. The guys arrive to a hotel that is empty. Mickey checks out the building and immediately regrets it since there were zombies imprisoned in one of the rooms. Ben has to take the hit again and protect them from the dead. Ben must endure the blow once again in order to keep them safe from the dead. He makes an attempt to get his buddy to join him in learning how to fight zombies, but the guy is unconvinced. Mickey will soon get an opportunity to go up against the zombies alone. While Mickey is sound asleep in the vehicle, Ben goes swimming. As a result, he is unaware of the girl's corpse's approach to the car. The man eventually awakens as the zombie approaches and makes clumsy efforts to enter. Mickey is frightened to the point of being unable to move or protect himself. For the first time, he is alone with a zombie, and he anxiously cries out for Ben to come and help him. After observing the corpse's activities for a while, the man learns that she cannot enter the vehicle and will continue rubbing against it. The man then comes to the realization that the zombie in front of him was once a beautiful female. Mickey decides to take advantage of the circumstance and fulfill his demands by staring at the girl since he has gone for many months without experiencing intimacy. When their love moment was about to reach its peak, Ben returned to the vehicle and shot the zombie in the head. The friction between friends is becoming worse every day. They leave once again to go through the abandoned homes. Mickey eventually loses his cool and says to his buddy that they will spend the night at the home. Ben gives Mickey the player in exchange for his concessions. He justifies this by claiming that Mickey runs out of battery and endangers their life since the loud music may prevent them from hearing the approaching zombies. Ben attempts to convince his buddy that they should cooperate and support one another in order to live. Following his friend's remarks, Mickey again loses his temper and departs. Mickey makes another attempt to reach Annie in the room. When she does respond, a girl warns the man that she could be banished as a result of speaking with him. She advises him to abandon his plans to attend the survivors' camp since it is far different from what Mickey had imagined. The man is prepared to leave Ben alone and join them, but Annie once again rudely sends him away. Ben eventually allows himself to unwind a little in the meantime. He drinks, dances about with a rifle, and cranks up the music. He hears odd noises outside the home in the middle of the night and takes zombies hostage. Ben makes the decision to teach his buddy a harsh lesson in survival. He throws the caught zombie inside the space, locks the door, and places a bat next to Mickey while he sleeps. When Mickey is awakened, he begs his pal to let him go, but Ben demands that he use a bat to fight the zombie. Mickey's terrified shouts and the sound of strikes may be heard from the room for a while. Ben cautiously opens the door and discovers his buddy, who is covered in blood from a zombie, breathing hard. Mickey rushes at his friend in a fit of rage and beats him. Ben is pleased that Mickey was finally able to defend himself and take down the wandering dead for the first time despite this. Mickey shares with his friend the details of his chat with Annie, including her advice that he forgets about the camp. The man starts to weep because he has given up on leading a regular life. Ben comforts him, and they restart their trip, admiring the lovely scenery and finding entertainment along the way. Together, friends go fishing, swap life experiences, play apple baseball, and eat the fruit directly off the tree. One day, they come upon an abandoned car in the middle of the road. The resourceful Ben goes to drain the gas, but Mickey observes that the vehicle's bonnet is still hot. When the boys discover they are not alone, they shout for the car's owner. When no one responds, Ben resolves to continue what he planned and stops to see as a stranger capture Mickey and place a knife to his neck. The man threatens to kill Mickey unless the men hand him the keys to their car. Ben offers to accompany the stranger, but he has no need for company as he is already headed to Arizona. Ben then makes an attempt to speak to his voice of reason by asking him from whom he wants to go and whether he is prepared to kill an innocent person to do it. The stranger claims that if he worked for them all winter, they would let him leave and supply him with food in his own vehicle. But since these individuals lied, he now has to flee to keep them from finding him. Once again fuming, the guy begins threatening to slice open Mickey's eye. Ben tells him that the keys are in the ignition of the car to help him relax. If the stranger releases Mickey, Ben guarantees to drop his gun and let him go. The man nods in agreement, shoves the terrified man away from him, and then he starts the car. The keys, however, are not in the ignition but in Ben's back pocket. The guy realizes his mistake and attempts to flee into the field, but Ben shoots him, shocking Mickey. The men are debating if this action is right when they see unexpected visitors have arrived. The buddies are informed by a woman's voice from the car that they have arrived in peace and are only looking to pick up an abandoned car so they may fuel it. Mickey doesn't see anything wrong with this, and Ben, who is still alert, aims a loaded gun at the unknown person's car. The big guy with a rifle and a gorgeous girl emerge from it. She tells her assistant to get a canister instead of a pistol, and the two of them go closer to the men. When the girl asks the men who was driving the vehicle, Ben tells a tale about the driver being bit by a zombie and having to be put to death. The stranger carries on the discussion by inquiring whether the guy has mentioned himself or the car's origin. Ben chooses to play the fool after realizing that this is the squad who followed the guy. He claims that the driver didn't mention anything unusual. On the other hand, Mickey is unaware of the danger in the circumstance and instantly identifies Annie, the other person on the radio. As soon as Annie realizes they've been exposed, she shoots Ben in the leg and aims the rifle towards Mickey. If the guys follow them to the camp, she threatens to kill them. Annie grabs their keys and throws them into a field, allowing them to escape while the boys seek for them. Mickey searches desperately among the grassy clumps for the keys. As night falls, Ben decides to spend the night in the vehicle and continue the search the next morning. Mickey hears a strange noise in the middle of the night. Once the headlights are on, they can see a group of starving zombies approaching them. Ben can't go too far because of the injuries, so the buddies are held captive in the car. By daybreak, there were zombies around the car from all sides. They groan and bounce the car from side to side because they can't get inside. The men are thus imprisoned for a long time. While Ben attempts to escape the situation, Mickey is frozen with panic. Although he shoots the zombies, but there are too many of them for them in waiting. Ben loses patience and accuses Mickey of being too responsible. They wouldn't have been caught in the trap if he had left Annie alone. Several more hours go by. Friends are aware that their food and water resources are limited. Now, the men can only guess as to which side will give up first, the zombies or them. The next day, they drape blankets over all the windows in the anticipation that the zombies will go if they do not see them. The dead, however, never leave their target. The boys decide to get drunk and have a nice time despite the fact that the situation is deadly in order to avoid going fully mad. Friends know in the morning that they cannot avoid the truth for very long. To escape this torture, they must attempt to get the keys. Ben tells Mickey to go outdoors and take all necessary measures to stay alive. If he can't locate the keys, he requests his buddy to leave him alone so that he can flee. Mickey makes a commitment not to leave his buddy. After finishing his final cigarette, he exits the hatch to freedom. The worst period of Ben's life starts now. He waits for his buddy for long periods of time that seem to go on forever. The man is about to give up when he hears a knock from above. He unlocks the hatch and lets Mickey inside, bursting with excitement. When he asks his buddy whether he managed to locate the keys, he realizes that something is wrong with him. Ben sees that Mickey has been bitten by a zombie as he reveals his bleeding hand. At this moment, the last hope dies inside Ben. In tears, Mickey begs his buddy for help, but the only logical course of action has already been chosen. Ben gives Mickey a direct shot to the skull, and as he yells in pain, Mickey is torn apart from the inside. Ben lies in a fetal position over the next several days as he grieves for his one and only friend. After some time, he communicates to Annie over the radio. The man informs her about the deception they used to leave Mickey's parents' home. The guys entered the house while luring the zombies to one side while making their way out the other. Ben promises Annie that he will attempt to pull off this trick again. If he survived, he would track her down and shoot her in the head. To attract the zombies' attention, the man switches on Mickey's player and removes the covers from the car windows. He exits the car via the trunk as they gather in front of it. At the end of the movie, we see Ben hobbling along the road. He was abandoned without food or weapons, and a swarm of starving zombies follows him on his track. However, the man now has a clear goal that pushes him forward. He wants to get revenge for his closest friend's death. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notification, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.